it's Caryn. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about everything Maryland and DC. If you're thinking about moving to DC, I'm going to give you 13 things you need to know before moving here. By the time we're done, people are going to think you're a local. So let's dive right in. So the first thing you need to know before moving to Washington, DC is that DC is a region. The DMV has nothing to do with getting your car registered. It's District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia. So when you hear people talking about the DMV, now you know what they're talking about. The second thing you need to know about DC is how it's designed. It'll be really super helpful. So DC is designed into quadrants. You've got northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast, and in the middle is the capital. It was designed after Paris by Charles L'Enfant. So it's a bunch of circles just like in Paris, and it can get super confusing. So if you remember, capital's in the middle, anything south of the capital is southwest, southeast, north of the capital, northwest, northeast. You'll have a lot better time getting around DC. The third thing you need to know about DC is that we do not have representation. We are not represented in Congress. We don't have any senators, but yet we still get to pay income taxes. So you'll see a lot of license plates that say taxation without representation. The fourth thing you need to know about DC is that all of the museums associated with the Smithsonian are free. That includes the zoo. Anything that's associated with the Smithsonian Institute are free. But here's the catch. Parking is not. Parking, in fact, is super expensive. So please make sure you take public transportation when you're going to visit any of the incredible Smithsonian museums or the zoo. The fifth thing you need to know about DC before moving here is the summers get super, super hot and humid. In fact, the myth is that Washington, DC was built on a swamp. I don't think it's actually true. I think part of it was marshland, but it might as well be because in the summers, it's brutal. It's hot, it's humid, there's mosquitoes. You need to know this before moving to DC. The sixth thing you should know before moving to DC, especially if you're planning on raising a family here, is that DC only has one public university, the University of the District of Columbia. But here's the thing, DC has a special program that you can apply to any state school in the country and get in-state tuition just because you're from DC. The program is called DC TAG, DC Tuition Assistance Grant. I'll put a link below so you can see all the qualifications and how to apply. But it's really important to know if you're thinking about raising a family in DC. My seventh thing you need to know before moving to DC is that we're not all politics and controversy. We have a lot of fun here in DC. It's stunning. And you have so many different restaurants and areas to pick from. You've got downtown on the wharf, on the waterfront. You've got Georgetown, which is a little fancier. You've got the U Street corridor, Adams Morgan. I could go on and on. We have amazing restaurants here in DC. So my eighth thing you need to know is there's no J Street. This is one of those cases where the truth is far less interesting than the rumors. Urban legend says that in the late 1790s, the city's designer hated Supreme Court Justice John Jay and wanted to snub him. But honestly, the reality is the letters I and J were too similar, so they just decided to forget about J. So my ninth thing that you absolutely need to know before moving to DC is you gotta get in with Rock the Red. Rock the Red is not just about DC, it's the whole DMV. Remember the first thing I told you about? So in the DMV, we are very, very serious about our hockey team, the Caps. And Alex Ovechkin basically is our local hero. So you gotta get on board with Rock the Red and you'll feel like a local. Okay, well, we're almost done. My 10th thing that you need to know in keeping with the sports theme is in DC, we're very sensitive about the Redskins. I know they're not called the Redskins anymore, the Washington football team. But if you're from DC or you lived here for a while, we're kind of diehard fans. I mean, we as locals kind of love to hate them, but be very careful when you're coming into the district because we take it very personally. And if you think that the Ravens are a substitute because they're in Maryland, they're not. Baltimore's like an hour away. So in DC, we're all about the Redskins, Washington football team, on a good day. And when they are terrible, well, then we hate them. But we're allowed to, but you're not. So be aware, we're very sensitive about our football team. The next thing you need to know if you're thinking about living in DC is that DC's very weather sensitive. If they think it's gonna snow or if it snows only even an inch, basically the schools will be closed and the government will be closed, and that's just the way it is. So especially if you're coming from a state that it snows a lot and you guys still do things, you're gonna be really surprised. So just know and be prepared that if it snows, or even if they're predicting snow, schools will close and the government will be closed. So we're almost done. I just have 2 more things left. This one's really important. In DC, we adhere by a rule that you walk left and you stand right. Everybody here is in a rush. They're always rushing to get someplace or another, which is probably like most cities, but this is DC. So you gotta just adhere to these rules and you'll get along really well with everyone else. Walk left, stay right. And finally, and this may be the most important thing that you learned today about living in DC, is that we love our wine. In fact, it's known that Washingtonians drink more wine per capita than any of the 50 states. So cheers to you. I hope you like wine because you're gonna drink it if you live in DC. If you need any more information about anything I'm talking about, just reach out to me. Here's my name, email, phone number, call, email, text. And if you're thinking about moving to DC, my team and I would love to help you. If you like these videos, please tell your friends and subscribe. Thank you, I do appreciate it. Have a good day, bye.